Hey, what's up world? It's your boy Dev1 and I'm chilling here in the lab at Ground Zero. I'm going to show you how to transfer your MPC 2000 XL files into the MPC Renaissance. Mind you, this isn't down to a science yet because Akai hasn't been able to port the all programs files or all sequences files from the 2000 XL into the Renaissance software. There's some sort of glitch. However, I hear they're working on it, and right now, in the meantime, if you have files you need to transfer over, I'm going to show you the step-by-step process. And let's start off with going through what you need. Obviously, we're doing this on a Mac, so you're going to need a computer with the MPC software up and running. And my setup here, I have open a temporary file folder for transferring zip files and a 2000 XL folder after you're done to save to from the Renaissance. You're also going to need your 2000 XL, your zip disks. As you can see, I have about 7 zip disks that I'm transferring files from right now. Okay, and I have a ton more down here. Got like 17 more down here. I've listed which beats need to go from each disk. And you're going to need a separate zip drive that's connected to your computer, whether it is a Mac or Windows PC. And you're going to need your MPC Renaissance or Studio up and running as well. Alright, so let's get started. First things first, you're going to need the zip disk that you have your beat on. I'm going to pop it into your 2000. You're going to need to load the beat. In this case, let's load up, let's see, where's our file here? I'm going to load up a beat called 774. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to load this beat right here. Let's go through this. Now that we have our beat loaded, I'm going to take out the disk. Okay, I'm going to put it on the side here. You're going to need another zip disk. We're going to pop it right back into the MPC here, the new one. Okay, you're going to go to Format, because you want to erase whatever contents are on this disk and make sure it's formatted for the MPC 2000 XL. And you say do it. That will format the disk. Now you're going to click save. Let me get focus here for you. Okay. Now we're going to click save. So the thing is, we can't save all programs and sounds or save all sequences and songs. So we just have to save a program. So click save a program. This is going to save all the stuff we just loaded up. This could go a lot faster, or it could take a lot longer depending on the size of your files. Okay, so we've saved our program and sounds. Now we're going to have to save a sequence. Since I only have 2 sequences in this song, I'm going to start saving sequence 2. You should always start with the last one. And you're going to click do it. And this is going to pull up save as MIDI file type 1 or MIDI file type 0. Type 0 I do not recommend. It always puts it on track 10 on the Renaissance software, so do it as a file type 1. Okay, and we're going to click save. So now that it's saved that, we're going to wait until the zip drive stops making noise, and we're going to pop this zip disk out. Now we're going to pop it into our zip drive over here. Okay, now we're going to give it a second for the computer to read it. Once it does, it'll mount on your screen. Now after it mounts on your screen, you're going to open it up and give it a second because it's slow. It's a zip drive. Now we're going to copy all of this info here. Okay, this is all of our samples. I know, a whole lot of stuff, right? No, not really. Anyway, you got to see the more involved beats. Now this could be a very timely process with extremely involved beats. Alright, we're copying it over to our hard drive on the computer. And this is going to take a moment. Notice I'm only putting it into a temporary folder because I'm going to delete all those contents in a little bit. Okay. Alright, now that we've transferred that over, I'm going to close the temporary folder. Close the MPC 2000 XL folder for a moment. I'm going to pull this out of the temporary folder, the sequence, because we're going to rename that one. That was our second. There's only 2 sequences, so that's our second one. So we're going to name it sequence 2. Okay. Now I'm going to eject the zip disk from the zip drive, because you're going to have to do this for each sequence. Okay. And you're going to pull the disk out, and you're going to pop this back into the MPC. Now we're going to format the disc again to make sure that there's no errors. Okay. Click format again. If it doesn't show up, you click do it. Now we're going to save, and now we're going to click sequence 1. Okay. And we're going to save. Same process. We got to put it back into the other drive now. Alright, so let's put this back over here. Give it a second to read. Now I could show you a more involved beat, but that would take hours. I spent over 3 hours on one beat the other night, and I don't have 3 hours on YouTube to post. Okay, so as you can see, we have another MIDI file here. I'm going to drag this from the disk here, and we're going to rename it sequence 1, because we have to remember which sequences they are. This is important. Alright, so now that we've renamed that sequence 1, now I'm going to take what's in the temporary folder here, and I'm going to drag it into our project information underneath the program window. Okay, and it's going to load up. Now we have no sequence data here, so we're going to drag in sequence 2 first. Always dragging your last sequence first. So we drag that into your project window, and then boom, now we have some sequence data that's loaded up. Okay, as you can see, this is coming up as it says sequence 2. Now in order for us to get this working right, we're going to click play on here, and nothing's going to happen. You'll see the pads triggering, but nothing's going to happen because there's no sounds on them. So now we have to move the sounds on the pads. Have your MPC 2000 XL connected to a speaker source. I have them connected to these little computer speakers on the left and right of my screen. And then when you play your samples, you'll be able to match them up to what's on the Renaissance. Okay, and we have to do this methodically, because usually 9 out of 10 times, if you've, sequenced with all of your pads having sounds on them, that will be the layout. It'll start from pad 1 and go across from left to right, all the way up through each bank. Okay? And it's probably the way it's going to be this time, but if you've ever left any pads blank in between, then it won't be like that, and you'll have to audition each pad on the 2000 XL before placing it onto the pad on the Renaissance in the software. Okay? So let's try this out. We're going to play, first we're going to go into sample edit here. Okay, and this should be the first sample. Okay, and that's the Renaissance playing that. Now this is the MPC 2000 XL. Same sound. Alright, so we're going to drag that one here to the first pad. Okay, that's 2000 XL playing that. This is Renaissance. I'm sorry, it's low. Let me turn it up a little. Same file. I'm going to drag that across onto the second pad. Okay, and okay, third one. Okay, same thing. Here we go. Third pad. Okay, and just to make things a little faster, I'm just going to try audition these on my XL to make sure that they're across each of the pads. Okay, so this is all the pads I have. Okay, this is all the pads I have across here. I don't go past pad 10. So now that I know that, and I have these 3 pads done, I'm just going to map out for time. I'll map these out across the rest of the pads because I know that they go in order. And one thing I also notice when I drop these files in there that this does is that it will double up on my samples in the Renaissance software, because mine were saved with lower cases, and it'll put everything again in uppercase. I think that's a glitch that Akai needs to work on. But let's go back to our main screen on the Renaissance, and you see we have our file information. Now when we play the sequence, you should hear the song play as it was if you had everything on the same track. In my case, it'll work that way. And yours, it may not. If you had things on different tracks, you're going to have to paste everything on different tracks, okay? Okay, so that worked. Let's go to sequence. Alright, so that's supposed to be our second sequence though, when it's on sequence 1. What we need to do now is we're going to have to open window, copy to sequence 2, say do it. Okay, now go back to sequence 1, and we're going to grab the sequence 1 MIDI file here and drag it in there, and it'll go over sequence 1, and you can see that data just changed. And now when you play it back, it should play your first sequence. And you'll see it triggering here. Alright, so that's how we get our tracks up and running. In my case, later, if I want to get more involved and I want to put, you know, hi-hat, snare, kick, sample, I'm going to have to highlight each one of these and then cut it and paste it onto a separate track, because as you can see, this is on track 1 and the rest of the tracks are unused. That's how I did it on the MPC 2000 XL for some reason. Don't ask me, it's just how I make my beats. But now with the Renaissance, I do it a lot differently. So let's do our last and final step, which is to save project as. Okay, and I'm going to go and find a folder. Let's go into here, music, MPC, MPC beats, MPC 2000 XL, and I'm going to call this heavy orchestra. Okay, and so I don't have to type it again because I'm lazy. I'm going to shift, press the up key, and copy that. But before I even put it in there, I'm going to click new folder, and I'm going to paste heavy orchestra. I'm going to say OK, and then I'm going to save. And what you will have is, I'll show you. Let me just click File, New Project. You can say Save if you want. It doesn't matter. I usually do. But now that we have it up here, we can grab heavy orchestra and toss it right there. I'm going to say do it. And now it should load up and play right from your Renaissance. Yes, this is a process, but it's a labor of love, and if you want your beats from the 2000 XL to read on the Renaissance, which in my opinion it should have been that way from the get-go, and there should have all been one file type from the beginning, but that's not the reality of the situation. This is what we're going to have to do in the meantime. If you have any grievances about this process, feel free to post as much as you want on my page, and I'll be sure to make sure that Akai gets the message about it, and hopefully all of our MPC data, whether 2000 XL, 3000, 60, 62, 500, 2500, 5000, and whichever ones I may have missed, should play inside the Renaissance software. But till then, you know, have fun doing this. I know I am. I'll probably be doing this for about a month, just trying to get all my hottest beats into the Renaissance. So holler at me. It's your boy Dev1, chilling at the lab, Ground Zero, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Peace.